Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. state quarter-dollar coins, as some of these coins are rare and can make you rich overnight. In this video, we are gonna uncover the rarest coins and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video.
Top 1 today, we are going to talk about a very special piece from the United States of America that has captured the attention of collectors everywhere. It is none other than the Casachi National Forest Quarter, issued in the year 2015 as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. At first glance, it may just look like another quarter in your pocket change, but believe me, this coin hides a story of beauty, history, and incredible value. So stay tuned until the very end because I promise you will be surprised at what this coin could be worth. Let's start with the background. The Casachi Quarter was released in 2015 to honor Louisiana's Casachi National Forest. This was the 27th design in the America the Beautiful series, which began in 2010 and continued until 2021. Each coin in the series highlights a national park or landmark, making them not just everyday coins but miniature pieces of art that celebrate the rich landscapes of the United States. Now, the Casachi design is truly striking. On the front of the coin, like every other quarter, you will find the familiar portrait of George Washington, first President of the United States, a design that has graced the quarter since 1932. But flip it over, and that's where the magic happens. The reverse shows a wild turkey in flight, soaring above longleaf pine trees. This design was chosen to represent the wildlife and natural beauty of Louisiana's only national forest. It is detailed, symbolic, and a favorite among collectors because of the dynamic motion of the turkey in mid-flight, but here's where things get interesting. While millions of Casachi quarters were struck for circulation, a very small number of them came out of the mint with rare errors and unique variations. And it is these mistakes that make certain coins worth much more than their face value. Some of the most notable errors include double die strikes, where the lettering or design looks slightly doubled if you look closely. These errors happen when the die shifts slightly during production, creating a ghost-like duplicate image. Another type of error is off-center strikes, where the image is not perfectly centered on the coin, leaving part of the design cut off. There are also instances of planchet errors, where the metal blank used for the coin had defects before the design was pressed. All of these unusual minting errors increase a coin's rarity and make collectors compete to own one. Think of it this way, millions of normal Casachi quarters exist, and they may still only be worth 25 cents in your pocket. But if you happen to find one of these rare error coins in excellent condition, it transforms from just pocket change into a true treasure. Collectors crave uniqueness. They want coins that stand out, coins that tell a story beyond the ordinary, and the Casachi quarter with minting errors does exactly that. Collectors especially value coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, meaning they look brand new with no wear or scratches. Combine pristine condition with a rare error and you have a recipe for sky-high prices at auction. Some Casachi quarters have even been graded by professional coin services, and when that happens, the value goes up even more because the grade certifies the quality of the coin. Now, I know what you're waiting for. You're asking, how much could one of these Casachi 2015 quarters actually be worth? The answer might just shock you. While the average coin may be worth only a small premium, rare versions of this coin with extraordinary errors in top condition have been reported to sell for an astonishing $87,000. Yes, you heard that right. A simple quarter that most people overlook as everyday change can actually be worth $87,000 if it carries the right combination of rarity, condition, and error. So the next time you come across a Casachi National Forest quarter from 2015, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Examine the details, check for doubling, misstrikes, or unusual marks. Because you never know, that little coin in your hand might just be your ticket to a small fortune. Top 2. We are going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating quarters in the state quarter program, the Vermont Quarter from 2002. You might think it's just an ordinary piece of change that you've seen 100 times before, but what if I told you that certain versions of this coin could be worth a life-changing amount of money? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the Vermont Quarter is a coin you should never ignore. Let's begin with a little history. The United States Mint launched the State Quarters program in 1999, and it quickly became one of the most popular coin programs ever. Every state in the nation had a chance to showcase its history, heritage, and symbols on the back of the quarter. Vermont was honored in 2002, and its design reflects the beauty and tradition of the Green Mountain State. The design of the Vermont Quarter is striking and full of meaning. On the front side, of course, you have the familiar portrait of George Washington, the nation's first president. But it is the reverse side that captures attention. The Vermont Quarter shows Camel's Hump Mountain in the background with maple trees being tapped for sap, a nod to the state's famous maple syrup industry. The image highlights both the rugged natural beauty of Vermont and its proud traditions. Collectors appreciate coins that tell a story, and this quarter does exactly that. Now here's where things get really exciting. While millions of Vermont quarters were minted and circulated, only a select few have errors that make them truly rare. These errors transform an ordinary 25-cent coin into something collectors are willing to pay huge sums of money to. OWN.SO. What kinds of errors should you be looking for? One of the most valuable types is the double die error, where the lettering or details appear slightly doubled. If you look carefully under magnification, you might see a ghost-like second image. Another highly desirable error is the off-center strike, where the design is not aligned properly and parts of the image or letters are missing. There are also cases where the coin was struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank was intended for another denomination. When this happens, you get a one-of-a-kind piece that collectors go crazy for. Condition also matters more than you might think. A Vermont quarter that has been sitting in circulation with scratches and wear is worth only face value. But one that is in mint state condition, preserved as if it just left the press, becomes incredibly appealing to collectors. Now, imagine combining pristine condition with a dramatic mint error. That's when the value skyrockets. Collectors love these rare varieties because they tell a hidden story of the minting process itself. Mistakes happen so rarely in the highly controlled environment of the U.S. Mint that when they do, the coins instantly stand out. Owning such a coin is like holding a piece of history that almost wasn't supposed to exist. So here's the big question you've been waiting for: how much could one of these Vermont 2002 quarters actually be worth? Well, if you find a rare mint error version in exceptional condition, you might be holding a treasure that could sell for an unbelievable $87,000. Yes, you heard that right. Something as small as a quarter, the same coin you might overlook in your pocket or spend on a gumball, could actually be worth $87,000. So, the next time you come across a Vermont state quarter, don't dismiss it as ordinary change. Take a close look, examine the details, and keep an eye out for errors. Because you never know, your pocket change could be hiding a small fortune. Top 3. We are taking a closer look at one of the most fascinating coins from the United States State Quarter Program, the Nevada Quarter, released in 2006. At first glance, this might look like just another quarter you've seen countless times, but what if I told you that certain versions of this very coin could be worth a staggering amount of money? Stay with me, because this is a story you won't want to miss. Let's start with the background. The State Quarters program ran from 1999 through 2008 and honored every state with its own unique design. In 2006, Nevada joined the series, and its quarter immediately stood out as one of the most beautiful designs. Nevada is known as the Silver State, and the coin's artwork perfectly captures its spirit and history. On the obverse side, of course, we have the classic portrait of George Washington that appears on all quarters. But the reverse side is where this coin shines. The Nevada quarter features 3 wild Mustangs galloping across the desert, with snow-capped mountains in the distance and sagebrush framing the scene. Above the horses, the words, "The Silver State," proudly remind us of Nevada's nickname. It is a powerful image of freedom, strength, and heritage, qualities that resonate with collectors everywhere. Now here's where things get very exciting. While millions of Nevada quarters were produced and circulated across the country, only a small handful contain rare errors or varieties that make them incredibly valuable. These are the coins that transform from pocket change into true treasures. One of the most desirable types of errors is the double die strike. This happens when the die that strikes the design moves slightly between impressions, creating a doubled image on the lettering or details. Under magnification, you might see the words or parts of the design appearing doubled, almost like a shadow. Collectors absolutely love these double die coins, because each one is unique and tells a story of the minting process. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. Imagine a coin where the design is shifted so far to one side that part of the artwork is missing while a blank crescent of metal remains visible. The more dramatic the off-center error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then there are planchet errors, where the coin blank itself was flawed, leading to unusual textures or missing elements in the finished coin. Even more fascinating are coins that were struck on the wrong planchet entirely. For example, if a Nevada quarter design was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a nickel or a foreign coin, it would become an extremely rare collectible. Errors like this are so scarce that collectors will pay extraordinary amounts of money to own them. Condition also plays a huge role in determining value. A Nevada quarter that has been heavily circulated and shows scratches, dings, and wear is likely only worth 25 cents. But if you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, sometimes called mint state, its value goes up dramatically. When you combine a rare error with a flawless mint state grade, that's when you unlock the true potential of this coin. Think about it, most of the coins we use every day go unnoticed. People spend them without a second thought. But hidden among those millions are tiny mistakes, rare variations that slipped past the mint's quality control and ended up in circulation. These are the treasures waiting to be discovered by sharp-eyed collectors. And now, the question you've been waiting for: how much could one of these Nevada 2006 state quarters actually be worth if it has the right combination of rarity, condition, and error? The answer is truly astonishing. Some of these rare error varieties in top condition have been reported to sell for as much as $85,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A simple quarter, the same type of coin you might use to buy a soda or feed a parking meter, could actually be worth $85,000 if it has the right characteristics. So the next time you come across a Nevada state quarter, don't just toss it aside. Take a careful look. Check the lettering, inspect the design under a magnifying glass, and keep an eye out for unusual features. Because you never know, your pocket change might just be hiding a fortune. Top 4. We're going to take a journey into one of the most remarkable coins from the United States State Quarter Program, the Ohio Quarter from 2002. Don't be fooled by its ordinary size or its presence in your change jar. This coin holds a story of history, design, rarity, and in some cases, unbelievable value. By the end of this video, you'll understand why coin collectors pay so much attention to the Ohio Quarter and why you should look closely at every single one you come across. Let's begin with the history. The State Quarter Program, launched in 1999, became one of the most successful coin programs ever, capturing the imagination of collectors and non-collectors alike. In 2002, Ohio was honored with its very own design, celebrating not just the state itself, but its enormous contribution to one of humankind's greatest achievements, flight and space exploration. On the front of the coin, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, first President of the United States. But the reverse side is where the true story unfolds. The Ohio Quarter proudly displays an outline of the state with a banner reading, "Birthplace of Aviation Pioneers." Alongside it, you'll see an image of the Wright Flyer, the world's first successful airplane created by the Wright brothers, as well as an astronaut, representing the many Ohio-born explorers who went on to make history in space. This design ties together the past and future of flight, making it one of the most symbolic and meaningful quarters in the entire series. But what turns this 25-cent piece into a potential treasure isn't just the design. It's the errors and variations that slipped through the minting process. While millions of Ohio quarters were struck for circulation, only a very small number contain rare mistakes that make them highly desirable to collectors. One of the most sought-after types of errors is the double die variety. This happens when the coin is struck more than once with a slight misalignment, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or details. If you look closely with magnification, you might see parts of the text or design appear as if they were shadowed or duplicated. These double die coins are unique, and every single one is a conversation piece. Another error to look for is the off-center strike. Imagine finding an Ohio quarter where the entire design is shifted, leaving a blank crescent of metal on one side. The more dramatic the shift, the more collectors are willing to pay. Then there are planchet errors, coins that were struck on defective blanks or on the wrong metal altogether. These kinds of mistakes are extremely rare, but when they happen, they instantly transform an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. Condition is also crucial. A coin that has been in circulation for years, full of scratches, nicks, and wear, will not bring in high prices. But a coin in mint state condition, looking as fresh as the day it left the U.S. Mint, becomes significantly more valuable. Pair a mint state Ohio quarter with a rare error, and now you're looking at a coin that collectors will fiercely compete to own. Why do collectors pay so much for these rare error coins? The answer is simple: scarcity and story. The Ohio quarter already has an incredible story tied to aviation and exploration, but when a rare mistake from the mint makes it unique, it becomes a one-of-a-kind artifact. Serious collectors are willing to pay astonishing amounts to add such treasures to their collections. Now, I know what you've been waiting for. You want to know just how much one of these rare Ohio State quarters from 2002 can be worth if it has the right combination of error and pristine condition. And the answer may leave you speechless. Some of these rare error versions have been reported to sell for as much as $83,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single quarter, just 25 cents of face value, can in the right circumstances be worth $83,000. So, the next time you find an Ohio quarter in your pocket change, don't overlook it. Examine it carefully, study the details, and check for errors. Because you never know, you might just be holding a coin that is worth far more than its face value. Top 5. We're going to talk about a fascinating coin from the United States State Quarter Program, the Utah Quarter from 2007. At first glance, it may look like just another coin you've handled countless times, but what if I told you that certain rare versions of this quarter can be worth a fortune? Stay tuned, because this story will open your eyes to what might be hiding in your own change jar. Let's start with a little history. The State Quarters program ran from 1999 to 2008, and it was one of the most ambitious coin programs ever created by the U.S. Mint. Each state was given the chance to showcase its culture, history, and pride on the back of the quarter. Utah's turn came in 2007, and the design chosen tells a story of connection, progress, and determination. On the obverse side, as with all state quarters, you find the familiar portrait of George Washington. But flip it over, and the reverse design is where Utah shines. The quarter features two locomotives facing each other, their cowcatchers almost touching, with a golden spike in the center. This image commemorates the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869, a monumental event that forever changed the nation by linking the East to the West. Above the scene, the words, "Crossroads of the West," remind us of Utah's pivotal role in this historic achievement. Now here is where the story gets very interesting. While millions of Utah quarters were minted and released into circulation, only a small number carry rare errors that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. These errors transform an ordinary 25-cent coin into something worth hunting for. One of the most fascinating errors is the double die variety. On some coins, parts of the lettering or design appear to have been stamped twice, creating a ghost-like doubling effect that can be seen with careful inspection or magnification. These double die errors are not only rare but highly sought after. Another type of error is the off-center strike. Imagine pulling a Utah quarter from your pocket and seeing that the design is shifted noticeably to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal on the edge. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. There are also planchet errors, coins struck on defective blanks, or in extremely rare cases, struck on the wrong type of planchet altogether. For instance, if a Utah quarter was mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, it instantly becomes a one-of-a-kind collector's dream. Condition matters just as much as the type of error. A Utah quarter that's been in circulation, scratched and worn down, is unlikely to hold much value. But a coin in mint state condition, meaning it looks nearly perfect, just as it did the day it was struck, commands far greater attention from collectors. Combine mint condition with a dramatic error, and the value skyrockets. Collectors are fascinated by coins like the Utah quarter because they tell two stories at once. First, the official story, the Transcontinental Railroad, the Golden Spike, and the nation's progress. And second, the hidden story of the mint itself, where a tiny slip in the production process created something unique, something that was never supposed to exist. It's this mixture of history and rarity that makes the Utah Quarter so exciting, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these rare Utah quarters from 2007 be worth if it has the right error and condition? The answer will surprise you. Some of these rare examples have been reported to sell for as much as $80,000, yes, you heard that correctly. A simple 25-cent coin, the kind you might spend on a vending machine, could in fact be worth $80,000 if it's one of the rare varieties. So, the next time you come across a Utah State quarter, don't overlook it. Take a careful look at the details, inspect the lettering, and check for anything unusual. Because you never know, your change might just contain a hidden treasure. That wraps up today's deep dive into the 2007 Utah State Quarter. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another discovery. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.